Yo, 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 what is up? OCD Mikey, Hi-Fi Guy here for another edition of The Mikey Show on New Year's Day 2025. Welcome, everybody, to 2025. We've got a great year ahead of us. And we finally got 2024 over with. And now we are into the new year where many great things are coming our way. I know I have a funny title for today. And that's because today I was at a bookstore. We dropped by Barnes and Noble, just to blow off some time. And went to the magazine section. I got a really cool watch magazine, by the way. It was a big thing about 2024 and what all the brands had done. But anyways, and I picked up a Stereophile magazine. And I'm telling you, I looked at the Stereophile and I looked at the advertisements. First of all, the full page ads were like Hi-Fi Rose. What's that other? There's another like inexpensive Lumen, or not Lumen, but something like that, like the cheap Chinese, or maybe they're Korean or something like that, just the cheap stuff in Stereophile. And of course, Magical Wilson were the first two full page ads, as to be expected. And I read some of the things. I think I saw an ad for it was an ad for Weiss Engineering or something like that, and it said something about all new realizations and realism, the new DAC with all new levels of realism and realism. I can't find the ads. I tried to look on Stereophile online, but I couldn't find the ads that are in the print magazine. But it's just like, God, it's the same old empty marketing stuff, and it's when you compare it to other industries, you realize how douchey audio marketing is. It's so I don't know a better word for it than douchey. Other brands talk about things that are important, complications, like with a watch. The more you pay for a watch, you're getting more complications. You're getting a way more technically complicated piece, which is definitely not the case in audio. And so they have to make stuff up, right? And just make it seem grandiose. And I'm just looking at the regurgitated marketing, and it's just so sad. I feel so bad for people coming into it right now, and just what they have to deal with, or what they have to read when they're trying to make heads or tails of the audio industry. If you're basing it on ads, it's incredible. Definitely incredible. Tommy, what's up, buddy? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, tribe. What's up, Dan? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Johnson. Happy New Year's, Kev. Happy New Year's, Dan. From Iowa. Good evening there, tribe. Good evening, Shane. Welcome. Yeah, so anyways, the new shipment of Fisher and Fisher is in the house. I've got 4 pallets to pick up tomorrow. At the airport, we will have 4 pallets. A decent portion of those are already pre-sold. But if anybody's considering the Fisher and Fishers, get in contact with me, because they have hit here. I got multiples of several models, and then one of everything. And the 560s are gone, but all the other of the big ones are still available. So holler. Greetings, peeps. Happy New Year. Greetings. The title of the live stream, they got me. 4 years ago, when I started getting into hi-fi, I fell for it all. Chased my tail, reading reviews, buying and selling, till I realized I'd been screwed. Yeah, it's all I will be offering you guys in 2025, like I already have. People have been showing it with their business. By the way, thank you to all the people that bought from me in 2024. 2025 will be even better. But I appreciate all the business you guys have been putting, and gals have been putting your faith into me, and buying merchandise every single day. I certainly appreciate it. We will be scaling this year and offering more to the members. Then you guys will see that shortly. But yeah, man, I mean, if you go to the magazines, it's just impossible to tell. Happy New Year, tribe. Happy New Year, Nikki. Great news. The Fish and Fisher shipment. Yeah, buddy. Your speakers. I should have them here tomorrow. And then Tommy's is the brand new owner of a pair of 570s. You're going to shit yourself, man, when you put those things in. You're absolutely going to shit yourself. And then you can come to the live streams and tell people, you know, what you think of those. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's, Mark. Good to see you, brother. Mark in Wisconsin. Bells and whistles seem to sell to newbies. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when nobody knows any better. They when nobody knows any better, that's what you go for. You don't know any better. You go to the magazines, you try and figure it out, and then the magazines are just going to confuse the heck out of you. And they say such stupid shit. And really, more than anything, I wish they would just be more just not so obvious about stupid marketing for dum-dums. It's like just, you know, it's so obvious that they're just, maybe it is that they're marketing to newbies and that's the way you have to talk to newbies or something like that. But it's just, it's ridiculous. And then then they show, it's so funny. Then they put little comments that people leave, John W. And then it'll say, best thing that I've ever heard. Well, who's John W? And what, I mean, there's zero significance when you put people's comments, and they still do that after all these years. They'll put an advertisement and then put best deck I've ever heard, John W, you know, line John W or something like that. I mean, that could totally, there's no significance to that. Half of it's completely made up. They're just throwing things out there. Maybe all of it's completely made up. How do we verify it? How do we even know what it is? But people spoon feed this shit and they gobble it up. I don't know if they do or not. I'm hoping they don't, but it's just, you're just like, man, who are they talking to? They're talking to some complete idiots. Because if somebody is reading this, I was trying to imagine as I was looking at the magazine, like who actually absorbs this and consumes this as good brain food? Like who would it be? Would it be just, you know, people over 60 years old, you know, that are new to audio, or just, you know, I don't know, just the same zombies that have been reading it forever? I don't know. It's hard to, because I can't imagine somebody, somebody in their 40s or 30s would look at and read some of that and like relate to it, because it's totally unrelatable and it's so old fashioned and it looks so dated and it's dreck, it's dribble, it's horrible, it's crazy. It is it's crazy to see. Do 4 pallets fit in your new Volvo? Of course they do, man. Everything fits in my new Volvo. Hello, Mikey. Hello, tribe. Happy New Year, everybody. Fisher and Fisher shipment is a great way to start the year. You know it. Can't wait to hear your new system, Mikey. I can't wait to hear. I'm dying, dude. I'm sitting here. I can't really listen. I mean, I go in a little bit because my woman's been in there almost every day listening. She loves those amplifiers. I put in the transmitter, the NAT transmitters, and now she's stuck in the damn listening room, listening with my backup speakers, which are those Eggleston Works, which by the way, are for sale. They're really great speakers. Tons of bass for such a slim speaker and how little it is. Very great resolution. A little bit more hi-fi than I like in a perfect speaker. If I'm going to pick a perfect speaker, those are a little bit more analytical than I typically like. But for those that like Wilson, that like Magico, that like YG Acoustics, Eggleston fits right in there. It's the same kind of deal. Very, very accurate. And great frequency response. But yeah, so I can't really, I'm dying for the new speakers to get them in there, but I need to, and I'm working on it. I just had to get through this year, get to the first. Now, tomorrow I start afresh. Actually, it's Wednesday. So maybe I'll take 2 more days of being a little bit lazy, go through the weekend, and then hit the pedal to the metal when I come back, because I'm not going to be able to chill like this through the holidays like I have been. But I'm taking advantage of it, right? Using it as an excuse to kick back. You're going to buy your diapers because you're shitting yourself. You know it, buddy. Do it. Get some Depends, man. You're going to need, I should ship them with Depends. Haha, that thumbnail to this video, bro. That's dope tapestry in the background. Happy 2025, Mikey. Looking forward to rocking out with the Nat Monos this year. You know it, man. Absolutely. Great, great amps. They're phenomenal. Yeah, see that? You see the bears? That's a dancing bears right here. How the hell do they do that, man? That is a tie-dye. Like, that means they have to like twist that. Somehow they put that design in there in this tapestry. Like, oh no, maybe it's a, no, this is not an actual die. This looks like it's a print. Anyways, it's cool. Can't remember where I got it, at some show or something like that. I'm like, oh, that thing's killer. So yeah, Happy New Year's. Love the title for the stream. Yeah, I had to throw it out there. I'm like, I'm just like, fuck it, whatever. I'm just gonna throw that out there. It came from today. Reading Stereophile magazine. I was in the bookstore. We were at the magazine rack. I was checking out some mags. I'm like, I got to just look and see if I can get some material. I'm just going to look at Stereophile and see what kind of drivel I see in there. And it's just the same stuff. And I've seen it for so many years. And it's just the same stuff that I'm just like, my God, if I've got to make something better. I mean, and I decided this years ago, I've got to do something for the people that is better. They deserve better than this. You guys deserve better, and women deserve better than what you're fed in the normal media, which is complete marketing shit, drivel. Just like, I can't believe they're still using the same terms, saying the same things that they do. Every single product that comes out, they use the same damn sentence. You could use the same sentence. It is the same sentence. They just change a couple words. It's like, oh God, I feel it's just, I've had it, and so I can't even look at that stuff without getting ill. I wanted to just puke. I have to not read it. Quite honestly, I have to not read it, because if I do read it, it makes me lose hope for the industry, and then it also makes me feel like a complete douchebag for being in this industry. Like, what a douchey industry to be in. Like, look at how the marketing is. Like, who are they talking to? Just idiot cattle? Like, like, this is the waters I swim in. So I have to be careful not to read, not to go. I can't go in the forums. I can't read the magazines, because it like, it beats me down. It just makes me lose hope. I lose hope in the industry. I'm like, ridiculous. So the only solution that I can come up with is I have to offer a solution. I can't just complain about it, right, and tell you guys about how I feel. I have to offer a solution. And so that's what I do with Fisher & Fisher, the other brands that I bring in. And so you guys are clear, if anybody isn't sure, I'm a dealer, right? I'm an audio dealer. And I, when I can, I find brands that I find that are exclusive, that I think are very worthwhile. And if I can, I lock US distribution, where I'm the only seller in the United States. Now, I do that for a reason, because what happens is, if a normal distributor gets a hold of it, and here's another thing that I saw, I won't derail right now, but what a normal distributor would do, like, I would take it in, I would get exclusive US distribution, I would take them in, then I would knock it up 20 points or 30 points, and then I would sell it out to a bunch of brick and mortars, and then the brick and mortars would sell it, they would sell it for 40 points higher, right? That gives you guys an unnecessary level of markup. So what I can do, if I'm the US importer, is I cannot bump it up that 20%, and I can just sell it to you guys at 20% less than at least 20% less than any other distributor would. Any of those distributors that are selling, and then they also have brick and mortars under them, the product is most likely overpriced. You look at some of the brands out there, I won't mention them, but I can think of specific examples where, they come in at the same price I would get, and then they get double marked up. And then you guys have to pay whatever the double after it's been marked up twice. So by buying from me, I eliminate that second markup, and I sell to you guys at a very reasonable price. If you look at Fisher & Fisher speakers, we'll use that for an example. They're made out of slate. They're very, very fine speakers, as good. I think they're better than Wilson, Magico, YG, any of that stuff. I think they have better sound. and they're more exotic. The material is definitely more exotic. You can't build out of stone and expect any sort of volume, right? It is a bespoke build, and they're built in not in huge numbers, the way the MDF can be built, right? And they're brought to you at a very, you can go through the whole line and then compare them to other things and see what you get for your money is just way better. And then we're not playing any games. You can buy it at what the retail price is. It's completely fair. You're going to feel like you got your money's worth, and it's guaranteed. And that's the best. That's what I can do. And then I can create and foster an environment where we don't bullshit you. I don't market with a bunch of. I could write. Trust me. I have the gift of gab, right? I'm sure you probably figured that out. I can. I do if I want to be a sales and marketing silver-tongued bastard. Okay, or wizard maybe is a better word, silver-tongued wizard, whatever you want to call it. A marketing speak, word speak guy, I can do that. I know how to write ads. I know how to put all those things in, but I think I look at it like you all deserve better. So I have promised you guys to not do that. Anybody that's called me to talk about gear will know I don't sit and wax poetic about something. I tell you, it's a really good piece. I recommend you try it. That's my pitch. I don't go any further because you get too many words. You look at the words that are spewed all across these magazines, like the title says, how douchey is the audio marketing. Oh, velvety black background with, unrealized levels of realism and fleshed out mid-range to bring yeah, I could go on and on. Like, if you give me a pen and a paper and a little time, and I will write up some ridiculous, regurgitated thing that everybody uses the same words and just chops them up differently. I think you all deserve better. So I just get some badass stuff. And then over the years, and as it's been going, more and more people are buying from me, and I'm putting together complete systems. So people are telling one another. And in a couple of years, it'll be like, I'm the gold standard. Buy from Mikey. He's the gold standard. And it's just because I'm looking out for you guys so that you get what you're after is really, I just want to make sure that people get what they're after. And ask anybody who's bought from me. Nobody goes away without being completely satisfied and totally happy. So I saw that in the magazines today. I saw the marketing and I'm like, man, same stuff. Same douchey marketing, and it's sad because they think you're a chump. Like they're marketing to you like you're a complete chump. They have to like you need those words in order to buy. It's like so. Hence the title. But that's where that came from. Mark, your honest opinion is what any music lover needs to hear. Yes. I mean, it's the least I can do is give my honest opinion. I know sometimes it isn't what people may want to hear. But what else can I do? Isn't all marketing douchey though? In some ways it is. But some more than others, right? Like I don't know, is my marketing douchey? I think it's just pretty straightforward. I'm just like, look, this is the badass shit. Buy it. If you're looking for this result, then buy this gear. I don't like try and get all like frosting, sugar coated everything, which you look in the magazines, it's sugar coated frosted BS. So it's just, to me, it's like, it's almost like, who do they think I'm completely stupid? Like, do they think I buy because they're putting Joe M said it was the best DAC that whoever the hell Joe M is, or whatever? Do they actually think that matters? Do they actually think that that's making me? It's like it's old thinking. It's crustified. It is crustified marketing. It's like grandma's poon fart, How about that, man? It had some dust in it, a little couple cobwebs. It's crustified and old. It's like, so I mean, come on. Let's get up to speed. So Mikey will bring you up to speed, and really, for me, it's like what we're going to talk about when I get with my clients. Look, you guys I will answer any questions you have, but I'm not leading with discussions about audio because it's just getting to the point, figuring out what you need. I recommend something to you, and then we're talking about many other things, and we're just getting to know one another. And it's not just audio talk. I'm not always pushing and pushing and pushing audio. It's to me, it's just like a little part of the conversation of the big picture. Like, let's get this audio thing out of the way, so then we can listen to music and enjoy time. We have very little time. Every day we're closer to our death, and if people want to just burn time because they still have it in their mind, like they're a young person, like they're 15 years old. Like when you're 15 years old, you don't even have to think about time. It doesn't matter. You've got more than enough time to burn. You really don't, but in our mind we do, right? Now, once you get past 50 years old, you're like, holy shit, I don't have time to burn anymore. I can't just waste time on things. I need to actually well, it's not, it's just, it could be just desires. Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be need. But one day we're going to be sitting in our deathbed, looking back on our life and thinking, what did we do with our time? Did we make good use of it? And to me, good use of it is relationships, family, experience. It's not, hyper focusing on objects that we can't take with us when we die. A little bit of time, and hey, you want to get on your laptop or your phone before bed, and for half an hour before you fall asleep, look at watches, which I do sometimes, or audio, if that's if audio is still intriguing to you, then yeah, something like that. But to spend just endless amounts of time on it, I'm about getting you guys off that and just getting it past you. So, is it worth upgrading from the Puritan to the 136 to the 156? I don't know. I would have to consult with you and know what your system's like, and then see if I recommend you upgrade something else. I don't know where your system is, and if it would be prudent to do that or not. You'd have to consult with me. There's such a vague question that I can't answer it, because depending on your system would determine if you have just a real entry level system. No, it's not worth it. If your system is world class level, then yeah, it is worth it. I mean, that's the kind of the basic gist of what I'm saying. Unfortunately, people just want to trust people, often without doing any research on the opinion. They should be able to trust people like professionals, right? And they shouldn't have to do any research. My customers are exactly what you just described. They come to me because they want to trust me, and they don't want to research. They don't have time to research. They have way too many things going on in their life to research stupid hi-fi when they just want good music. They don't give a shit about the gear. They don't want to know about what components are inside, what capacitors, what chip. They don't give a shit about that. They want good music, and they want to feel like they got their money's worth, and they want Mikey to take care of it for them. And that's what I do. So what you've described is fortunate that there are people like me doing this for people that are professionals that don't have the time to research. Not everybody has the time to burn. I don't. I don't have the time to burn on watches. Okay, watches is something that I just started getting into, and I will have a small little set of watches because I've caught the timepiece bug, right? But I don't want to sit and learn and research. Fuck that. I don't want to do that. I don't feel like it. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole learning about like what's the movement number WM65 that was created in 1943 and then has 21 joules and blah 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 blah. I don't give a shit. I care about what does it look like and what's the background, real surfacey shit about the background of the company. And then I go to a watch guru. I have some clients that are freaking watch fanatics, okay? And they have $100,000 watches, right? And not that makes them more of an aficionado than the next guy, but it just gives you a little background. So, and they've been doing this for many, many years, and I trust them, and I ask them the questions, and then they will give me an answer, and then I can buy based on what they say. So I do that too. It's the same with a doctor. I mean, do I want to treat myself just without? I'll do a little research, but I'm going to ask a professional. I'm going to look to read something from a professional. And at some point, you have to trust somebody else's opinion, because otherwise you're going to burn tons of time trying to research it on your own. That's just my feeling about it. Andre, yes, it's worth upgrading. Okay. Mikey, those douchies are such dacks. Mikey, I know you like to evaluate how a system sounds using Slow Ready for Goose as a reference. Do you have any other test tracks you like to use when evaluating how a system sounds? Absolutely. So you could use Boz Scaggs' Thanks to You, which will test bass for you. Okay, it's an extremely bass-heavy song. So Thanks to You by Boz Scaggs. I don't even know what album it's on, but that will give you bass. Okay, that will tell you bass. If you want to know if a system is too forward or not, like how polite is a system, the test for how polite is a system is Duran Duran Ordinary World. That will tell you how polite a system is. If the system is too, it will run you out of the room if the system is too analytical. You will not be able to listen to it, okay? If you can listen to it and you hear it and you're able to be in the room and it's not too much, then you've got a polite system. Your system is handling aggressive recordings very well. And those are the systems that I like. They have to be able to handle Duran Duran Ordinary World, or it may be just too edgy a rig. If Ordinary World exacerbates the situation, it means that my system is going to be picky. In other words, I'm going to hear how bad recordings are and how good recordings are. Which will rule out a decent part of recordings for me, which sucks. So if it can't play Ordinary World and not, it has to be able to play that and not, run me out of the room, not kill me. If it does, then I need to fix the rig. The rig is not there. It's too much. It's too sharp. It's too forward. It's too analytical for me, for my taste. So those are a couple of the other ones. Let's see if I have any others. Pink Floyd, Hey You, has some good toms that come in, drums. Boom, 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 boom. Some great Hey You, Out There in the Cold. Can you feel me? And then there's a part, Hey You is just a great one. There's definitely drums in there, and it comes in full, and it's full strength. So Hey You is a good, that's on, I think that's first song on the second side of the wall, or second album of The Wall. What else do I use? There's another one, Clocks by it's not Coldplay, but it's Coldplay with a Cuban band, and it's like I don't think it's Buena Vista Social Club, but it's called Clocks, and it's like in salsa version. They hired Coldplay and they did it together. I can't wish I can remember that, but that is a great way to hear percussion, and it's very precise, and the placement moves back and forth, and it's got it gives you quickness. You can test how quick is your system, how dynamic is it, how well does it handle the little sound things that just pepper the sound space. And I've got a whole playlist. I suggest you all create a playlist for testing your system and use those songs, use other ones that you like for some good. Sometimes people like Chris Stapleton, some of those vocal things, like Death Row by Chris Stapleton. There's a handful of them. I can post my playlist. I have a Tidal and a Qobuz playlist I'll put on the website. So visit 11 Stereo and you'll find it there. So I hope that helped. By the way, Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year, man. Simon, hi from Australia. A fresh breath of air. Now you have me thinking about Fisher & Fisher, the 570. Yeah, man, it's a hell of a speaker, man. I mean, the 570 and the 670. Once you get to 570, and then you go up, you've got muscle. Those speakers are all so muscular. You can really, they're just like dynamic and visceral, really visceral. The 470 has an amazing imaging and very good balance and nuance. It's got the same je ne sais quoi that Fisher and Fisher is famous for, which is that mid bass and that beautiful extended highs. But once you get to 570, now you've got visceral, deep. You can dig into the meat of the music. You can turn it up. You don't need subs, right? And you let's say you couldn't benefit from subs. It just does no. There's no purpose to have subs with from 570 up, and they're just amazing. Andre, I own both 156 and 1512. Both are highly recommended. I obtained both from Mikey. Yes, you did. So holler at a brother if you want anything. By the way, if you guys haven't, give a thumbs up. Please, if you're watching this right now, we got 116 people. Give me a thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up this vid as a way to support the content. Let me know you guys like what I'm doing, because that's how I judge of positive response, right? I can't you got to give me a thumbs up and like subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and then I know to keep on doing this. Contact me at 11 Stereo via phone for a free consultation. Do not email me, okay? I don't sit at a desk answering emails. I just don't do that. I respond to telephone, and I have a cell phone, and you can reach it, and then you can get me if I'm here, if I'm on my motorcycle, if I'm out and about. I always have my cell phone on me. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. So let me see where I left off. Here we go. Tom, that's hilarious. Ship F and F with Depends, right? I mean, it's a good idea. I should do that. It would be funny. I mean, if nothing more than humor, it would be funny. Just a pair of diapers in there. Happy New Year, Mikey. What's up with Vivid Audio and those large Gia speakers? Saw them on one of your shorts. Odd look. They sound any good? Yeah, Vivid Audio sounds great, man. They're an interesting look. They're really cool because they're carbon fiber. They're very light, but you don't hear the cabinet. It's a very good design. I don't know what they sell for, but I think if you find them on the used market, what a great, and you can get them at a great deal. Vivid Audio is terrific stuff. Yeah, I can't say anything bad about them. Hello from Oklahoma. What's up, man? Hit the thumbs up. That's right. Thumbs up, everybody. Happy New Year from Oakland. What's up? Oaktown in the house. Good to see you, man. Will you be at Florida Audio Show? Yes, I will be there as an attendee, but I will not have a room. I think I will be there. Yeah, I just want to go check it out. It's a new venue. I'll go there just to check it out, and sort of feel it out. Again, you guys know how I feel about shows. I just go to the shows to show you guys what I can do. That's really my only, but I'd rather show it to you in your own room, To add your point on markup, Mr. Huff, Steve Huff, indicated he has new Nagra DAC X and said it was sold to him at around $20K, which is a far cry from retail. So that's pretty wild that he actually divulged what he paid. That's pretty wild. The funny part is the DAC that I sell that I think is the best in the marketplace. They make the Nagra DAC section. So it's made by Playback Designs, but it's 2 levels down from the MPD-8, which is a $26,000 DAC. So the DAC, again, the DAC converter that goes into the Nagra DAC is out of their Merlot, which was a $6,500 DAC. That's what that is, as far as I understand it, what goes into the Nagra DAC. Of course, Nagra does the analog output section and all that stuff, and then they've got the name and everything like that. But yeah, I think it's over $50K if I'm not mistaken for that DAC. So yeah, and Steve Huff, it's I mean, any of those guys, it's useless to watch those videos. All these guys do is tell you that everything's freaking great. Everything is great. It's great. It's great. And then you look down and you see who the sponsors are, which, by the way, I'd like to take a second to thank my sponsor. which is me. So I'm going to thank myself for sponsoring this video. But these guys have sponsors, right? So they have corporate people that pay them to say good things about their stuff. So even if they don't like it, they're going to say good stuff about it because they're paid to. So hence why I may seem cynical. I may seem like, the guy that's the negative guy or whatever. But look, somebody has to do it. Nobody else is going to do it. Everybody's just going to tell you, blow sunshine up your ass, in this hobby. And there's enough of it. The last thing you need is somebody else to do the same shit that everyone else is doing, right? A friend told me that Barely Legal magazine has some good articles on hi-fi for a hot tub room. Oh man, SWIX has potential. Great. I'm glad you think so. The Prince of Darkness of 2025 has no time to spare. Yeah, no doubt, man. That's for sure. I've enjoyed my research on watches. I also have a rather large collection. Doing research is something I enjoy doing. It's education. It's learning about something before I spend my money on it. Yeah, I just don't give a shit. I've got enough money. I don't need to worry about it. 10 grand, whatever, if I made a bad choice, I'll sell it. Who cares? What, I lose 2 grand? Who cares? I don't give a shit. But it's cool. I mean, the magazine, I bought a big fat magazine today to learn a little bit more about the history of the brands. It's kind of all I want to know surfacey stuff, but I don't need to know why, Richard Mille. First of all, like Richard Mille turns me off. I don't even want to read about it. Like, I don't even want to research about it. I look at the colors of the thing and I'm like, gross. And then you look at the colors, you look at the price, and then you realize it's a trophy watch. It has nothing more to do than to look like an ostentatious bastard. Whatever, if that's your thing, and and we won't go into that whole deal right now. But other than that, I just need to know that it's a good. But if you have time to sit and do that, and that's your thing, then cool. Once you die, and when we're on our deathbed, we're going to realize all this time that we spent on materialistic shit was time wasted. It means nothing. We can't take any of it with us. So time spent on growing our spirituality or relationships or making memories is far more valuable than time we spent on researching about material items. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. And maybe I don't know shit. Mikey, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Charles. Look forward to what is in store for the Hi-Fi Tribe. Thanks, buddy. I do too. And we've got a group of professionals on the board. We've got a board now. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Happy New Year from York, South Carolina. Right on, Marvin. Marvin, good to see you, man. Some good barbecue up there? There is. I also have quite a lot of people in my community who trust my opinion. Cool. There is a great weight that comes with that, and it's not something I take for granted. I consider that to be an honor. Yes, sometimes I don't realize the weight that my words carry, and I can be a little loose with them. But I've learned over time that it is a responsibility, and so over time, you guys have probably seen things evolve a little bit more, hopefully, with how I look at stuff and how I talk about things. And it's just changed a little. I've realized over the time that words carry weight in many times, especially when you're respected. What subs would you put with the SN70? I wouldn't really. I would just get a bigger speaker. If you're not getting a bigger speaker because you can't afford more than $4,500 for speakers, then I would get something off Facebook Marketplace, and it really doesn't matter. But if you're gonna do subwoofers, I wouldn't put get 2 of the same exact subs and match them, and then get an active crossover. It's the only way to do it properly. And then so anything, it doesn't matter. The SN70 is a $4,500 speaker, so that means you're not going to be spending much on subs. So when you're not spending, you're spending a couple grand maybe max on subs, then you could have any brand. It doesn't matter. Just get them as big as you can, and as well built as you can. Not cheap. And here's another note for all of you to hear me now, believe me later. It's better to buy a smaller speaker that's higher quality than to buy a bigger speaker that is crappier quality. I know it's tempting to buy a big speaker with a bunch of drivers for a couple grand, but you're going to get a crappy speaker. And it's better to get a small monitor for 2 grand that's built much better to a higher level than it is to get a whole floor standard with 8 drivers for 2 grand. And I know it's fun to show off, but it's not going to serve you well. So you could use any subs, but typically I would say go with something bigger if you want more bass. Just go up the line. Do you know anyone that will make custom slate speaker stands? They Fisher and Fisher has stands that go with their speakers. Maybe you can that are made for them, where the poles go into the bottom of the speaker. They're threaded, so you can't topple it off the top of the stand. And there's a slate base on it. The poles are steel, powder coated steel, but you can't really make a steel thing and put, I'm sorry, a slate tube and then put a thread in it and all that kind of stuff. So you have to use steel. But to answer your question, no. I don't know anybody that would make custom slate stands, but again, for Fisher and Fisher, you don't need them because Fisher and Fisher makes them. Mikey, what is your philosophy on cables? Should they all be as neutral as possible, or the opposite way? They should have different flavors to tweak the sound. Okay. No, they should be as neutral as possible. Absolutely, without a question. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is the absolute answer that I would give. Once you start using different flavors to tweak the sound, what you're doing is you're trying to make mismatched gear work together. When you make it, I need to make it a little more, and you try and tune it with your cables, it means you have gear that doesn't match, and you're trying to fix the mismatches by using cables. That is a horrible idea, because then when you take a DAC out or whatever to change it for the new DAC, you just upset the whole apple cart. Now you're going to have to redo everything. Nothing's going to match because you tuned it for that DAC using the speaker cables or whatever cables. If you make everything neutral and transparent, and which is how I build, okay, then you can take things out and in, and if it upsets the apple cart, it means they're not neutral, right? If it becomes too sharp, it means that piece is a little too sharp. So if you've got neutral all the way across the board, then when you add things, you understand better what the flavor is of that particular item. If you don't have neutral, let's say your system leans sharp, then you could put in something that's neutral and it may sound sharp to you because your DAC is sharp. So you put in this preamp that's neutral and it sounds like, oh, that's a sharp preamp, but it's really not. It's the DAC that's sharp. So your system is out of balance if you're tuning with cables. And it's then you're doing this balancing act. Like I think of the guy with the poles and the spinning plates, and one leg up and stuff like that. You're kind of like that guy trying to balance all your sound, and you're doing a little of this and a little of that and a little pepper here and a little butter there. And then before too long, it's like there's too much spice in there, and the recipe is screwed. You want it neutral. So my philosophy is just get good cables, great cables that are made well, that have good electrical properties, and then don't try and overdo it with the cables. If there's some magic cable, that's bullshit. You shouldn't rely on a cable to make or break your rig. If a cable makes or breaks the sound of your system, you are in a bad place, okay? You are in the wrong neighborhood. You're in over your head. Your system is that jacked up that you need the cable to make it sound good. Bad, bad, bad. Your system should sound freaking awesome with lamp cord, okay? And then you can put in some good stuff and refine it a little, or get a little more juice out of it, or whatever you want to call it. But your system should, your components should be matched to begin with, and sound great with just stock cords and lamp cord and stock power cords. And if it sounds good like that, then it's only going to get better. You're on the right foot, okay? But you need to match your gear. That is more important than these cables. And people and the cable companies go to extreme lengths to bullshit your ass into thinking that you need their cable for your thing to sound better. Or they come in with this new cable. This cable is going to fix your rig. It's like, oh my God, really? Is that what you're trying to get me to believe, that I should buy a $30,000 cable to fix my rig? It's not realistic. Those cable companies typically are selling to trophy buyers that just have ton of dispensable cash, and they just don't know what to spend on, and their cash pile keeps amassing every month. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they just need to release some of it. They just need to let some of it out, and they run out of shit to spend money on. So there's cable companies out there, there's audio companies that understand this, and they create products for those people. Those products are no more advanced, or they're not really breakthrough. They're just changing the sound in some way or another. Maybe it works in your system, maybe it doesn't. Whatever. But my opinion on it is just get some great cables that are basic stuff. And again, instead of just complaining about it, I created stuff. I have a patent in cable. My first hat is cable design. That's how I got into this business. So I have a complete line of cables that sits right at the cusp of where what's great stuff, where you're not overspending. Nothing's over $2,000. And that's how I think about cables. Put your money into your gear, not your cables. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, 3DFX. Mikey, are you going to make regular videos of your system being assembled and tuned? I would enjoy watching the process and learning more about your process. I can, but I mean, I could act it out right now. I'm going to set things in the room. I'm going to go, doesn't quite sound right. I'm going to walk up. I'm going to move the speaker a little. I'm going to sit back down. I got a little bit more mid-range, but it's not quite right. I know there's more for it to give. Hold on. I'll get up. I'll go over. I'll move the speaker a little teeny bit more. Pull it away from the wall a little bit. I'll go back and I'll sit down. Okay, the bass is a little boomy. I think I need to pull it. I need to turn the back end so that port fires a little to this way based on where the proximity to the wall, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, now let me give it a shot. Okay, great. That's all it is. That's all. I'm going to be back and forth moving speakers. That's all I do for tuning, is find out where the speakers are good in the room. And every room is different. No room is the same. You have to instinctively know what the speakers are doing, how they sound like when they're perfect, and then what they're sounding like in that room and how much more they have to go, and then being able to adjust them. And you have to also adjust them within the parameters of how that person is using the room. So in my room, I have the luxury of putting the speakers wherever the hell I want to put them, because it's a dedicated listening room and the room is not used for anything else but listening. Okay. Other people have a room, like I just got back from Chicago, where he's got kids and it's a multi-purpose room, and there's a TV and there's kids running around and all that shit. So I can't pull the speakers out into the middle of the room if that's where they sound the best. I need to make them sound the best within the parameters that room, the room constraints that I have based on the use of that room. So to show you what I do in my room, it's like watching a mathematician, like one of those guys that writes the things on the chalkboard, and it's like a million characters and they're writing out the whole thing. Like it doesn't mean anything to me. It only would mean something to a mathematician physicist, right? So to watch me sit and go back and forth and move speakers in my room, it's not going to teach you how to do anything in your room with your speakers. Do you sort of get that? And if you want to respond to me, respond, and we can have this conversation. If anybody wants to respond to what Matika puts forth, I'm happy to sit a damn camera there, but I think it would just be boring, and I don't think you guys would get any usable information. You would just see a mad scientist mixing his chemicals together, and then boom, in the end. And you'd be like, how the fuck did that happen? Well, you kind of have to be there and know what each chemical is and know what you're putting together. And none of it's labeled, so but I know instinctively how to mix the chemicals, so to speak. So hopefully that makes sense. But I could do broad stroke stuff. I could say okay, I could show you the room now, and then I could say, okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm clearing it out to make more room for the speakers. And then I'm planning to put these speakers over in this corner. I could sort of show you, so it would maybe fun for you guys to sort of go on the journey. But I try and do, and if you guys think that's valuable, then let me know, because to me, A lot of the things can be filler. I am capable of making 2 videos every day, but I would be giving you guys filler. I'd be just coming up with shit. Like I could take this board that I have sitting on my desk and I could make 5 different videos talking about the capacitors and electrolytics. I could talk about, about shit that I probably shouldn't be talking about anyways, because I'm not an engineer, but I could make it into filler, right? But is it usable for you guys? No, it's just drivel. I'm just talking to Phil. So I'm in the new year. And as I make my videos, I like this format, and you guys, I really count on the feedback from all of y'all to let me know what you like and what kind of content you would like from me. So what you're saying right now is helpful, but I'd like to discuss it with you guys and tell you why I may not want to do it, and then you tell me why you would like to see it, and then it will help me to provide better content for you guys, because that's really, when I do these videos, it's for you all. It's not for me. I would much rather be sitting watching TV right now or whatever, doing some other shit. But I do this for you all. So I'd like it to be super valuable for you all. And so feedback would be greatly appreciated. And let's take 20 shit. Let's take the next, month, next 30 days to hone it into the best content I can provide for you all, and just give me feedback. That's all I ask. And then I will discuss with you why I think maybe it wouldn't help, like what I just did with like setting the speakers. And then you can come back to me and say, hey, we're not really trying to learn how to set speakers in a room. We just want to, it's just kind of like vicariously watching or what's the word, voyeuristically, watching you do it, because it's kind of cool just to see the maestro at work, even if we don't understand it, then cool, no problem. We thank you, OCD Mikey, for sponsoring this live stream. Yeah, man. My favorite sponsor of all. Yeah. Klein are unreal. Yeah, they are, but they're nothing like the other stuff. You have to realize Klein are unreal, and Klein are the shittiest speaker in the whole freaking line. Okay, so let that sink in. Mikey, that looks like an Android phone. The Chinese are spying on iPhone to Android communications. Yeah, thank God it's only dick pics. Boom, boom. In your opinion, which is better between Sonus Faber Ellipsa and Sonus Faber Guarneri? I have no idea, man. No idea. I can't comment on Sonus Faber. Cool brand. I don't know if that's their new stuff. I don't know anything about it. Back in the day, Sonus was really cool shit. I don't know how it is now, but typically you're pretty good with Italian stuff. Bling. Radio on the beach, good enough. Yeah, I'd much rather be, yeah, for sure, on the beach. Suntan and looking at bikinis. Have you researched the movement, Mikey, on their timepieces? I certainly have. Richard Mille, is that what you're talking about? No, I definitely haven't, and I don't care to. It's not, I'm never going to buy one. I would never wear one. So I'm not interested, because if the movement is, let's say I want the movement, I'm still not going to wear it because it looks fucking goofy. So I don't want to look like a lick knob. Will plugging an amplifier into a Puritan 156, and no offense if you have a Richard Mille, it's just my own stupid opinion. Who gives a shit? Will plugging an amplifier into a Puritan 156 affect the sound or performance? Not whatsoever. It is not a current limiting device. What you're asking about really is, does it have a transformer inside? No, the Puritan does not. It's a passive AC filtration device. If it had a transformer inside, you would get clamping of your dynamics. And so anytime you're shopping for an AC filter, you want to make sure that there's no transformer inside. That's just general rule of thumb. You want to make sure there's no MOVs, otherwise known as metal oxide varistors, which are like, fuse type thingies that create their own noise that you don't want in there. And there's just buy a Puritan. That's all. It's simple. They've already figured it all out. They already know all the shit to avoid, and they put it in their design. They also remove common mode and differential noise, which a lot of the other ones will only do one or the other. Puritan removes both types of noise. Hi, Mikey. I have a question about amplifier polarity. Okay. Do I have to worry about my power amp reversing the polarity if the XLR inputs does not follow the conventional pin 2 as hot? Well, absolutely. That's a good question. It would be reversed phase if they did it the way. Well, I don't have enough information in front of me to give you a proper answer to that because I can't remember. Pin 2 is pin 2. Are you in the I know there's two different configurations. One is the old way or the European way or whatever. If it's pin 2 hot, pin 3 hot, and they switch those, then you're reversing polarity. If you go pin 2 hot versus pin 1 hot, you're now going from what is a ground to a hot pin. So I don't know enough exactly to give you. I don't have enough knowledge right now to let you know that offhand. But yes, you do want to know how your XLRs are wired. So the answer is yes. You would have to worry about knowing the proper phase relationship. You want you don't want it inverted. Inverted phase makes things sound weird. So if anybody else can answer him better, please go ahead. Thanks, you bet. Rob, have you ever tried the Stein Music Speaker Match product? Does it work? No, I've never tried it. I have no idea. Andrew, what's up, buddy? Happy New Year, man. Thanks, buddy. Love your content and hearing about your interest. Example watches. Can you shed some light with your beef or fallout with John DeVore? No, I'm not. I'll just say I don't like the guy. I really don't know much about his speakers. I have my opinion based on not listening to his stuff because I don't really have a desire to. But I've had in interactions with him on the professional level, like in the insiders thing, and I don't like the guy. The way he conducted himself when was and then he's like it's just a long story, but I just didn't like him. So it's just like Boulder. If you've ever met the owner of Boulder, the guy's a complete dick. And you're like, I don't give a shit how good your stuff sounds, dude. I'm not buying it, and I would never promote it just because I don't want to promote your personality being in the industry. Like, we don't need people like you. We want to get rid of people like you. That's just my opinion. Divorce, similar guy. Like, dude, he's with the hipsters, and these guys, that is a different thing, man. To me, those guys aren't about the best sound. They're about a certain look and vibe and coolness factor. Like, it goes with the vinyl and the turntables, and then like the Altec Lansing kind of looking speakers. And like, I've been to a couple. I realized recently that there's a whole there's right. We have the different types we have trophy audio, we have music lovers, but then we have the hipsters, which is a one that I didn't realize until I was at a store in Miami, and then I became aware of Devin Turnbull and his stuff, and then OMA, Oswald Mills, and they're kind of like a hipster audio. It's just like cool shit to look at, functional sculpture. Does it really sound audiophile level, like high level? No, it never really hits the high level mark, but it does good enough for people that want a certain look and vibe and to hang out with, like, sort of like the hipster crew. And that's sort of like where I put DeVore sort of in that camp of hipsters. And his stuff looks like copies of Audio Note to me. So I don't respect the guy, and therefore I don't respect his brand. That's what I can tell you, and that's my personal opinion and my personal thing. But if you want divorce, man, go for it. I think there's better out there. What is your opinion on silver power chords? Do we need them? Not really. I mean, if it's a good silver power chord, it's going to give you more leading edge and more presence, typically. That could be good. That could be not good. They do make the most, all power chords make the most difference on source components, period. Whether it's silver, whether it's copper. The best place to put a power cord first is on the DAC, second on the preamp, third on the amp, fourth on the power conditioner. That's how power cord order of importance goes, okay? I'll say that again because I said it kind of fast. The first place you put a power cord is on the DAC or the preamp. If you have a DAC and a pre, then second would be the preamp. let me start over. DAC or phono pre. Okay, that's the first spot. So your DAC or your phono pre, then your line stage, then your power amp, then the power conditioner behind the power conditioner. That's how they work. Silver is very touchy. It needs to be a high purity silver or a well done silver for it not to be harsh. Sometimes silver can be a little harsh, but typically that's in lesser designs. And silver typically gives you more resolution, a little more leading edge, a little more tooth on that leading edge of the sonic. And that can be great in sleepy systems. If a system is forward, you're going to exacerbate it. You're going to get more forward even. So it's not always the best thing. Happy New Year, Mikey. Happy New Year, Harry. Hope you have a rockin' 2025. Thank you. Same to you. I hope you have a great 2025. I think all of us will. I have great. There seems to be a good amount of hope. 2024 was a weird one, but it's getting weird. I just want to get past this damn inauguration and get the new president in and get into the role of things, because there's that just weird shit, man. Have you guys seen that thing about the fog? Oh my God, dude. Our world is freaking weird. Just Google fog Florida or Google fogvid, like COVID, but fogvid 25, fogvid 25. Just Google it. I'm not even going to say anymore. Just Google it. Just Google it. I have a Past Labs preamp and the DAC 07. Okay, cool. I don't want to get rid of my preamp. So does it make sense to upgrade my DAC to one with a volume control in your DACs with a volume control? Yeah, it does, because the DAC is better even if it has a volume control. So in other words, between the DAC 07 and your preamp and say an audio analog in your preamp, it's still going to be better with the audio analog, whether or not you use that volume control or not. And you can set it to where it just goes, it bypasses the volume control anyways and just runs as a regular DAC, which means that unity gain. So it's a better DAC. Yes, absolutely. So it does make sense. Mikey, do you tune without a mic? Yes, I do. Because, yeah, I do. I don't have to go further into why. Yeah, I spent about a week voicing my speakers before I was 100% happy with them. Yes, you just got to listen for a while and then assess and move, sometimes too far. Then you move it back. Yep, that's right. You go back and forth, and it can take some time. I know the Fisher and Fishers pretty well. So I know my room pretty well. So I know this won't take me a week. I can probably do it in a day, maybe two. I would love to see it on video if you explained the differences along the way. Interesting. Really? Huh. Okay. How? Let me ask you, just for the sake of it, how does that help you? Or doesn't it matter? Do you not even care? It'll just be interesting to watch, because it's going to be like, I'm going to move and I'm going to say it doesn't have enough mid-range. It's going to be one of two things. It's not, it is the image is not correct. So it's going to be the image is too diffused, or it's going to be the bass is too boomy. Those are like the two things that really I deal with. So I need to tighten up the bass and I need to get the image locked. So those are going to be the two things that I do. Tighten the bass, get the image locked. Once that's done, I'm done with it. So you're going to see me go, the image isn't right. I'm going to move it. Not quite right. It's too diffused. Getting closer. There it is. Okay, great. Now how is the bass? Bass is a little boomy. Okay, move it forward. Move it out of the corner. Okay, a little bit less. Okay, cool. Move it a little bit more. Still a little bit boomy. Okay, move it a little more. Perfect. Leave it right there. That's like what you're going to see. So if you want to see that, I'd be willing to do it. But I just almost feel like I'm making filler at that point. But if you guys dig it, seeing your system setup is content. Yes, it is. More for people curious. Hell, watch people on Instagram and what they had for breakfast. So it's not that much of a stretch to watch an edited setup, not live. Yeah, I get it. But, watching people eat breakfast makes me want to puke. Like, not because they're eating food, but just because it's useless drivel. It is making the human race stupider. So do I participate in making you all stupider, Or do I try and make my content more valuable and make you smarter or make you open your mind or open your eyes? Do I try and do some good, or do I participate in dumbing, I know that's not a word, the society? That's what I have to look at. And the more that I look at other channels, I can't watch other channels. People ask, do you watch this guy or Steve Huff or Audiophiliac or whatever? No, I don't watch any of them, because if I do, it makes me I lose hope, and I just go and I'm just like, I won't participate. I'm not going to make content like that. I just watched a very interesting a documentary on, what's his name, Avicii, which was this DJ from Sweden, and he became, at 25 years old, he had 50 million bucks, and just from being successful doing DJ stuff and remixes and stuff like this, and people loved him, and they were eating it up, and he was talking about how the more the what the people wanted out of him was not his art. They wanted the drivel. In other words, they wanted the pop music that he didn't enjoy making. So he followed his heart. He followed what was making him money. He followed what was proper from a business standpoint, i.e., getting more clicks, i.e., making filler and content for you guys. Ultimately, he ended up killing himself, okay, in a hotel room somewhere, because he was miserable, because he was not following his art. He was not following his heart. He was following what was going to make him more money and get him more clicks and get him more popular. And so I have the same struggle within myself, but I'm more apt to say, fuck the content, I'll follow my heart. I'm more of that. I have more of a stronger conviction to follow my heart than a 25-year-old does. I'm in my 50s. So I know better. I'm following my freaking heart. I don't, the money, whatever, that will come. I'm not worried about it. So that's what I have to deal with. Do I make stuff that I'm not into making? Do I make you content that my heart's not into, that I'm just creating because I know that it'll get me clicks, that there's no real feeling in it, there's no emotion in it, I'm not excited about it, I'm just going through the motions? So is that, do you want content of Mikey going through the motions of making pop, filler content, so you have something every day that's just so that you can brain rot? Or do you want, less content, more punctuated, and where I leave you with things that maybe alter your paradigm, or that get you to think a little more, or that maybe learn something, or where I leave you with something that is valuable? Or do I just burn your time? Do I just do things that I know will keep you locked? Because trust me, when I started my channel, I did that kind of content every day. Sometimes I did 2 videos a day of just content, just to keep people locked and to get my numbers up. And the numbers were on, they go higher when you do that, because the YouTube likes you better when you do that kind of shit, because you're playing the game, and they like it when you play the game. And, after I got a number of viewers, I just, I think I owe it to you all to give you my best material, which is the stuff I have feelings about, not the stuff that I'm just doing for clicks. But you guys, I rely on your feedback. And if you tell me you want drivel, I'll tell you I'm not going to do it. That's the bottom line. You're going to get what I feel passionate about, and that's it. I'm sorry. If my channel is not as popular because I give you what's in my heart, my channel's not going to be as popular. It doesn't matter to me. Really, I'm not here for the channel or the clicks anyways. I'm here to sell to you, and that part of what I've been doing has gone steadily up the whole time. So, that's all really I want is customers out of this. I really don't want notoriety, fame, whatever, 1 million clicks, 1 million views. I don't care about going viral, any of that stuff. That's not important to me. I'm creating a movement and having a client base and having a huge tribe. That's way more important to me. And the tribe thing you'll hear more about in the new year. But yeah, thanks for the feedback. But I count on the feedback. We need to have these discussions back and forth where I tell you how I feel, and then you all tell me how you feel. and then we discuss it back and forth, and then maybe you help me learn something, which would be my hope, that I would see a light go off and I'd be like, holy shit, like I never thought that people would want, that. And then maybe we can find a happy medium where I'm doing more of something that maybe I thought I wouldn't like, because I understand that it helps you guys in some way. I like when you show each component, walk around and show the details or even the insides. Okay. It's nice to actually see what these things look like. Marketing photos on the web below. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I can do that. I plan to do that definitely coming into the new year. I've got some cool tube amps that I've been listening to that I'll show you more of. And then when I set up those speakers, I will definitely show you the Fisher and Fishers. Once I have everything set up, though, it's the only thing that will change will be amps. And then once I find my perfect amp, then nothing's going to change, because my DAC is the playback designs. That's been the same for the last 4 years. That's not changing. The playback design streamer, playback design stack, that will not change. Then the amps right now and the speakers, we'll see. I'll put them in. I think they should be everything that I want, and more. And I feel that they will blow my mind, and then those will stay in. And then it's just about amps. Then I'll switch out amps. And then maybe I can compare if I take in a new line of DACs or something like that in the, that's in the $10,000 range, things like that. But I'm not going to do a pure content. I mean, I've got people wanting me to look at their stuff. I'm not a reviewer. I'm not a reviewer. But I will be the one channel that's different than everybody else. I will figure it out, and I've got great ideas. But again, please give me the feedback. I'd like to see Mikey Reacts videos. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, so what I would like from that? Okay, so Sean says he would like to see my reaction videos, which means what he's saying is where I go and I look at other videos and then I react and give you my opinion about those videos. And what I'm doing is critiquing another YouTuber. So it puts me, I'm guessing if that's what you're talking about, my reaction to YouTube videos, maybe it could be my reactions to websites, like, which is fine, or my reactions to magazine articles, or my reactions to industry situations. You would have to tell me a little bit more about what your reaction videos. And then what I would need to do for that is have user submitted material. Okay, it's the only way I could do it. I can't pick the material, because then it's me picking on somebody. Like I'm picking a victim, right? In other words, like that's how the industry, the rest of the industry, well, why don't you leave me alone, man? Like, why you pick me to pick on me? But if you guys give me the content, then I'm just doing what my people want me to check out. And it's user submitted material, and then I'm looking at it and watching it with you guys or whatever, and I can do reaction videos, but I can't be the guy picking the stuff. You guys have to submit it to me. So maybe we'll figure out a way on and look for this. I will implement this on the 11stereo.com website, 11stereo.com. You will be able to submit video ideas, submit content ideas. I will put that in there, and it will basically probably be just an email or something like that, where you will send a link. Just send me the link, and then I will look it over, and I can do a video, unless there's some weird thing like it's too touchy, or I'm like, I can't, do this. And then I have to figure out a way to, how do I give my honest opinion, when my honest opinion may not be that great, of somebody that's another YouTuber. I mean, it's going to cause ripples. Of course it will. They'll think I'm picking on them. But if I'm just doing this for you guys, then I guess I can just be polite. As polite as possible. As polite, I can just be polite. That's all. So look for the user submitted ideas. And then I will put send Mikey an idea, a video idea. I'll put a link, and it'll be on my homepage at 11 Stereo. So look for that. Experimenting speaker placement is free. That's true. Room affects the sound second most behind your speakers. Okay. Lick knob, you crack me up. Yeah, I know that's one from from Minnesota. That's a Minnesota term, lick knob. Yes, I understand what you are saying. I guess I'm in over my head with room acoustics and speaker setup. Yeah. See, that's the thing. There is no formula for it. People try and make formulas, but every room is different, man. You can make a formula, but that formula, um, I would have to plug in all the room coordinates. You know what I mean? And then even then, sometimes is what are you after? What is your sonic that you kind of like? Because it could be perfect from a microphone standpoint. From listening, you might not like it. um, Microphones and getting a good read on the room is a great way to see if there's any major issues in the room, right? Like you some total carve out, then you can go, holy shit, look at that hole in the frequency response, and then you can figure out how to fix that. It should be relatively flat. I mean, not perfectly flat. You definitely don't even want it perfectly flat, but you can see if there's some weird anomaly, and if you have phase incoherence or phase anomalies, you will see that in the frequency response too. So um, that is a good thing to do. If I come out to you, most of the time I sit and I set them in the room. Depends on what we're after and what we're trying to do and how much um, leeway we have in the room. Again, like I went to the Chicago place, I can't put room treatments in there. His room was already full of stuff. I can't start, doing crazy shit. I just have to do it by ear with the parameters. So everything is a little different. But yes, it is a lot more complicated than you had anticipated, and you're constrained on time. Well, hire somebody to come and do it, man. Where are you again? Are you in California? I can't remember. What do you think of AVIX Class D integrated models? I don't. I don't. Um, I think it's probably a pretty decent brand. I don't like the more I do, the more I've listened to the new Class D. I call it the new Class D because the new Class D is really good, right? It's great, and the more I listen to it, the less I like it. It's too perfect. Okay, if you want perfect audio, Class D may be the thing for you. I want imperfect natural stuff that sounds like humans, not like perfect facsimiles of like a perfect formulated thing. And in many ways, Class D for me has been too perfect, too clean, too. It's just it can be it doesn't. It's like a Japanese motorcycle. Anybody that rides motorcycles, um, Japanese motorcycles are over engineered. They're too perfect for my taste. They don't have character the way the Italian motorcycles do. I like it a little more visceral with a little more character. So I like a little bit of whatever the hell it is, distortion. A Class D is like a Japanese motorcycle for me. It's like perfect in every way. Maybe it's like a BMW motorcycle too. Unless it's the racing one, okay. But the touring ones, no, they're just so well made and so well tuned. There's nothing visceral about it. So I don't know much about Avic. We'll see how that whole brand shakes out. I think they came in to the market with heavy-handed marketing and spent a lot of money, paid a lot of people to talk good about them, and and they did make some splashes. Um, what I don't like about the brand is that they're trying to eat the whole enchilada. They're so aggressive. They're too aggressive for my taste in their market. They're trying to take all the market share, which just tells me a little bit about how it's run. It's run like an extreme corporation that is just like balls to the fucking wall, like sharpened teeth, fucking trying to take just a huge old bite out of the whole enchilada. And it's like, whoa, man, let's all get along here. Let's live in harmony. They make everything soup to nuts and from $5 to $5 million. So I'm not, I don't know. I was hoping to pick up general knowledge and thought process. Yeah, well, the thought process is going to be, it's not, I mean, I'm not teaching anybody how to do my craft unless they pay me a lot of money, right? If somebody wants to be an intern or like a, what do they call that, an understudy or something like that, and you want to learn my craft, then I haven't even thought about. I could teach somebody, but I couldn't teach you on a. You'd have to be right next to me, and I'd have to say, sit here and listen to that. Now you hear that glare on the piano, right? Like that. Well, that's going to indicate that we're too close to the, and that's my moneymaker. This is how I do. And besides, it's my ears, right? So I could teach you how to tune like Mikey. So it's like being an acoustician, right? Or like a record producer, like Alan Parsons or something like that. Like he makes certain records and they sound certain ways because it's Alan Parsons. Well, Mikey tunes audio rooms to sound like Mikey rooms, and it's the way I do it. So it's not a formula that can be recreated. It's not something I can write down that would be a recipe. It's just not. It's my taste, and how I haven't even thought if it could even be taught to somebody, because I guess if somebody learned what my taste was and how I listen and how I like shit, then they could learn it, But to it would be impossible to do remotely. I'd have to have you right here and say, sit and listen to this. Okay, now hear how when we moved it this way, it did that, and and then why hatch competition? You know what I mean? And I know that's not your intent. Your intent is just to tune your own damn room, but have me come and do it. That's what you do. You have me come and do it. Wow, mate, that's a pretty full on comment. They make plenty of different timepieces. I've shown you one I have. It's pretty conventional looking dress timepiece. Richard Mille or what's the other one? I thought it was Frank Mueller that you had. I'm talking about Richard Mille, like the things that are like $300,000 for something that was like pink and blue and like, that's what I'm talking about. The hipsters are the worst. It is what it is. I mean, they may be the worst for you, but they may be great for somebody that else is at a hipster, somebody else that wears the work boots that doesn't go in the mine, that doesn't get the shiny, perfect work boots, right? The 1920s coal miner boots that are perfectly polished, and then the selvage jeans that are perfectly rolled up on the bottom and crimped and folded, and then the trim beard and the logger flannel shirt tucked in with a bespoke belt or whatever. It's just it's that might be perfect for some people. So to each his own. And it's just another awareness, just a thing that I became aware of, like, wow, I never understood. I never really knew that market segment was there. And it seems like it's maybe for the younger crowd, but it's also for people that are very aesthetically minded, and just not, and the aesthetic is almost more important than sound to them. And I think the aesthetic is the prime directive there. 2 years ago, I asked Mikey about home theater processors. The first word out of his mouth was Marantz. I wasted 2 years with nothing on something I could not afford to end up with Marantz made in Japan. You wasted 2 years with nothing on something I could not afford. I don't understand that. 2 years with nothing on something I could not afford to end up with Marantz made in Japan. Yeah, I don't know what you mean, Malcolm, but I mean, basically, yeah. I mean, hey, I don't, I'm not trying to turn my home theater into a high level 2-channel thing. And if you're going to do home theater, go with Denon, go with Marantz, go with something where they're doing it every year and they just do research and development on all that kind of stuff. Life is short. Listening to Mikey. Happy New Year, tribe. Happy New Year, Malcolm. Malcolm's a car guy, man. Malcolm's a freaking helicopter pilot. This guy's badass. I've flown with Malcolm in his helicopter, and he is at the top level of private helicopter pilots. I mean, he's commercial. He flies individuals, but it doesn't get any higher than Malcolm's skill. The people that he carries are billionaires in his helicopters. So he's at the top level, and he goes back and forth between Manhattan. He comes down and lands in Manhattan and picks up Wall Street dudes or whoever, like hedge fund dudes, and then takes them up to Connecticut or to the Hamptons or wherever. But man, that was badass flying by, dude. That was so cool, Malcolm. I got to tell you, that was probably one of my highlights of 2024 was that helicopter trip. For you guys that don't know, Malcolm is a client, and he's a helicopter pilot. And we were talking one day, and he was lamenting about a helicopter trip that he was going to have to do from California. And he said something about where he was in California. And I'm like, holy shit, are you going to be at Pebble Beach, the car show? Because I was going to be there at the car show. He's like, yeah, I got to pick up one of our helicopters. Was just the coachwork was redone by Bentley. And, I got to pick it up and bring it back to New York or to Connecticut from California. I'm like, dude, can I catch a ride back with you? And he got it all checked out and cleared. And because he's high ranking with his company, they said, sure, you can take him. It doesn't matter. So Malcolm and his co-pilot, and I was the guy in back. Okay. Normally this thing carries 6 people. I'm there by myself, drinks and chips and whatever the hell they have back there for the clients, right? Like that's where their clients go, these billionaire guys. So Mikey gets to play billionaire for 3 days or whatever it took us to get back. We would land I think we could go 300 or 400 miles on a tank full. So each day we landed 2 times, I think. And then the third landing was where we would stay for the night. And it was so funny because we would land and Malcolm would say, he would call me boss just to fuck with me, right? So that the people that were working at the FOB were like, or the people that the guys that were on the tarmac, right? They'd come up to fuel and do all that stuff and be they're the attendants or whatever, the guys that work there, and they'd all be looking to see who's in the back. You can tell, so funny, because they want to see if it's a star or some maybe model or something like that, right? They're looking to see who's in there, and it's Mikey, and I'm just like, hey, what's up, and Malcolm would get out, hey boss, where are we gonna, it was totally funny. And so I got to see what it was like to be a billionaire on a damn helicopter traveling around. And not only that, but you get to see the United States in a very unique way. You're not too high to see everything like you are in a jet plane. And you move in 3 dimensions, man. It's not linear movement, which is the coolest thing about a helicopter. Is it's like you're in the water, right? You move the same way you do when you're scuba diving. And it's just flotation, man. It is so, Malcolm, you gave me the fever. Malcolm got it stuck in me. Now I crave to feel that feeling again. Not afraid at all. I got over all my fear. I mean, I remember we were leaving California, dude, and we were, how many feet were we, Malcolm? 1,500? Or were we like 3,000? Whatever we were at the highest level you can go pretty much in a helicopter. And I was looking down like, holy shit. What happens is the engine stops. We're not gliding out of anywhere. And then Malcolm said, well, we would just whirly bird down. It would just like if you took a strip of paper and you throw it out in the air and it flips and does that, that's what we would do. It would be a hard landing, but and either way, it didn't make me feel any better. It's not gliding out of shit. But so I was really, I could look out the window a little bit when we were that high. It just made me uneasy, man, for a while. But then I got used to it and I started digging it. Then I'm like, yeah, this is great. So anyways, one of the high points of the year. So thank you for that, Malcolm. That was awesome. Jasper, what do you think of Western Electric Sound Systems replicas? I've got I've got 91A clones. They're awesome, man. Those were some great designs. If you can get some 91A monoblock, there was a guy in Canada, or was he? I think he was in Canada. He might have been in the United States. He was in the United States. He's an epigeneticist guy. Oh man, I wish I could remember the name of his company. I can't remember it, but he made all sorts of handmade tube amps. That was like what he did for a hobby, and they're kick ass. I still have his pair of tube amps, 91A clones. They're totally great, man. Depends on who built it. So that would be the answer to your question would be depends on who built it. If Kimber 12C braided type copper wire is good for speakers, is that style cable also good for power cables? I don't know. I don't know what. Typically, yeah, but I mean, I'm picking up what you're asking, and typically, yeah, typically stuff that's good if it's heavy gauge speaker cable, then yeah, it can work for power cords too. Life is short. Listen to Mikey, like the shadow, he knows. Yeah, buddy. Hey, Mike, what is up, tribe? Happy New Year. Hey, what's up, David? Our world is weird. Have you seen any new movie that is not weird? I saw Gladiator 2 on IMAX Cinema. It was pretty good. Yeah, Gladiator 2 we saw in the theater too. What total bloodlust, man. That was pretty wicked. I mean, it was gnarly. Like and it was that kind of movie that you're engaged like the whole time. It's pretty worth it. Have ever argued with an American manufacturer regarding their intent to manufacture their products in China. No, I just give them shit and they go, I know. Argued with designer recently over the subject and was disgusted with their reasoning. Yeah, I mean, their reasoning is it's money. And then they tried and tell me, like, I fuck with them a little bit, not too hard, but this guy said, I was talking to, and I'll even tell you who it was. It was Perlison, right? And I was talking to the guy, and first thing, I got to give them straight kudos for not trying to hide where it was made. When I asked, is it made in China? Yeah. They didn't say, well, yeah, it is made overseas. They didn't come up with any excuses for it. They said, yeah, that's where we make it. We make it there because it's the smartest place for us to make it. And I'm like, all right, whatever, but it's money related, right? It costs the least amount. So from a business standpoint, it's the most profit they can make is by doing it there. And then he proceeded to tell me, oh, we take care of the people. We feed them. We give them blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, but they live there, don't they? They like, well, yeah, they do. So they won't tell you. I mean, unless you ask the question, you gotta fight fire with fire. They'll tell you that they really take good care of the people and they feed them well and they pay them better than the other places and all that stuff. But that's because and then that's because they live there. They live in a camp and there's a fence all the way around it and you can't just leave. You're I don't want to say a prisoner, but it's probably the closest thing to a prisoner as could be. Your family is there. You're there. You go to work every day. And you live at the factory, and that is your life. So there's it's no use really arguing with them or even getting it. And I don't argue with them. I just sort of laugh at them. I just tease them, and they know what I'm doing, and they go, yeah, 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 and they understand because they understand I'm teasing them about selling out for the money, basically supporting the global enemy, for the money and whatever. I won't go into that, but I'm a human rights person. I think people should have freedom to express their thoughts about who's running the country and express their thoughts about their religion and their convictions and their values and be able to do that freely. So I stand for that. Happy New Year's also. I know it sounds crazy that I would like to see it, but I've learned a lot from your videos about stuff you use and why. Just seems interesting to me. Okay, that's cool. Half of these people are already watching other people set up. I definitely watch you set up. Okay. You can't tell somebody how to set up a room and system properly. You can only guide them along the experiences they'll need. Yeah, exactly. You have to be there and you can't, it's not like a handbook. Yes, sad story. My friends knew Avicii. Oh, they knew him in Stockholm. He died way too young. He was really a good composer. The guy was very talented. And he knew how to make a hit, but it wasn't where his heart was in sort of, his heart was in a different area. It was like if you hear the story about George Michael, it's another story, right? When he was with Wham, he was fiercely popular and like making just like everybody loved him and what he was doing, and he was at the top of the charts. And then, but he didn't want to be known as a pop star because he had art. He had the artist side of him that wanted to show his art and his creative side, but people didn't want that from him. He was still extremely talented, really good singer, a good composer, just very talented, but people wanted to consume the pop stuff from him. So he fought with that. Later on, if you watch his documentary, you'll see how he became very depressed because he was trying to express himself and he did not get the critical acclaim that he really wanted. And it was because the audience wanted something else from him and it wasn't what he wanted to give. So it's very sad about Tim. Tim, I can't remember his damn last name. But it's Tim. Yeah, he was way too young, man, and so successful and really talented. Sad story. 2025 is going to be good. You know it, man. It will for sure. Dude, he was a dime a dozen and lucky to have made a penny off that dog shit. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely how I agree with you. I was listening to his hit that was like this huge hit, but I'll tell you what happened. We listened to it today in the car because I didn't know the hit. They mentioned it in the documentary. Was it called no, not Time. It was like I can't remember the name of the hit, but they said it in the documentary. So today in the car, I looked it up. I played it on my phone and we listened to it. And I was like, this music is fucking horrible. Like I could never listen. Like it, I had an adverse reaction to it. It's the most bubblegum poppy bullshit EDM, disgusting music that I'd ever heard. But we turned that shit off after like 15 seconds. I could not get the fucking song out of my head. That thing hooked me so hard that it pissed me off. I'm like, dude, why is this fucking song? And the same with the other two that were in the car, my brother and my woman. We had that song was hooked in our head. It was like it had been seed planted in there. This shitty ass song. And it pissed me off. But I realized that's what makes it successful for mindless young people that just, they don't know music. They don't know. And what Tim had done was mixed folk music with EDM, which they don't mix. I mean, maybe they do for some people. It doesn't for me. But what it did was it gave lyrics and a meaning and a story, which folk music does, so people could sing along with it. So they would sing along with it. And I've seen the video of in the documentary, and in the audience, they all know it word for word, and they're singing, they're loving it, and they're so happy. So he's giving them the food that they want. But I think in Tim's mind, it was like bubblegum poppy shit, and he wanted to express more of his art, from what I gathered. But he knew the formula of what to make, and also his producer knew the formula of what needed to be made for a hit. And I even saw Tiesto talking about it, and he was like, man, I couldn't believe it. He played that song for me before he released it, and I knew it was going to be platinum. You know, like that thing was going to go crazy. So, in many ways, what you're saying here, he was lucky. He wasn't lucky. He was fucking. He knew how to make a hit song, and even though it's shit music, which I agree, it's dog shit. Like I couldn't agree more. Can't stand that fucking music. It was gross. But smart dude, knew how to make a hit for the people at that time and fucking killed it. He hired some country singer out of fucking Nashville and then put EDM and country lyrics together. Like, who would do that? And turned it into this, like, it was #1 in like 12 countries at the time or something like that. So it was a success story, even though it's dog shit music. I agree. I like tech house. I'm very particular about my EDM. It's none of that bubblegummy poppy bullshit. You know, it's straight deep tech house. The hard shit, the elbow in the fucking mouth shit, the fuck you shit, the you know, excuse me, I'm getting a little worked up here. But tech house is hard, it's tough, it's badass. It's not bubblegummy, it's not sweet, it's not vocally, it's badass. It stomps and it's slaps. I'm gonna call it stomps. I don't use the word slaps. That's ahead of my time. That's for the young kids. Anyways, yeah, that's tough. Keep doing what you're doing, dude. We're here now because we dig it as it is. Cool. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Nice, dude. That's the attitude to have. Yeah. I mean, it's the only, I gotta live for myself, right? Avicii maybe knew too much. Watch his music video for a better day. Okay. I will. I'll check that out. Hey, Mikey, what's your thoughts on field coil drivers? Super cool. Love them. I've got some super rare Japanese Feastrex. They're one of a kind pair that was handmade, you know, by the original dude, you know, all this stuff. It's got freaking origami inside the boxes. They've got these little strings with origami paper things like in there, these little bulbs and shit, like to take up the vibrations. Crazy. And then I've got Tungar power supplies for them, which you can't even, I don't know if you can even find Tungar power supplies anymore. They're vacuum tube power supplies. They used to be used for car battery chargers. And they're the best power supplies for field coils. But you know, it's a pigeonhole type of listening. It's a very, very refined, it's like a very unique vintage watch, right? Like it's super cool. Or maybe it's better to use like a vintage car or chopper. Like, are you going to want to drive that motorcycle, that vintage piece? Not really. You want it to be your main bike? No. So do I want a field coil? And I don't know. I mean, Songer Audio makes some modern field coils that could be cool. But typically speaking, field coil drivers, as I understand them, the ones that I see are like full range with kind of no crossover. So that's what makes them really unique and cool. But it's sort of, I'd rather have something with more visceral impact, my man, something bigger and more slam and punch. But they're cool. They're super cool to play with. Yeah, Avicii's death is strange. Why would a young millionaire be depressed and maybe kill himself? I don't know how that could be an answer. Yeah, I know. I wondered the same thing. I'm like, man, he was in Oman, and he ended up dead in his hotel room. I'm like, okay, Oman, what a weird place, first of all. And then what's that all about? And then, there's just, you always wonder about foul play. I can't help because I don't trust the world. But as the story goes, he was depressed. I know he started doing alcohol painkillers. So painkillers, it's pretty easy. If you do painkillers, it's easy to overdose, especially if you're doing the heavy ones like the Oxycontins or whatever. You can easily overdose on Oxy. So if that's the painkiller that he was doing, he might have just done too much of a good thing or whatever, and killed himself without wanting to or realizing it. It doesn't mean that he wanted to, because he ended up, overdosing, which I think is what the thing was. It doesn't mean he committed suicide. So maybe I should have said he overdosed, because maybe he did. But I mean, he was talking about stuff and he was not happy. He said, "I was happier when I was not famous." Those are his words in this documentary. I think it's called "I Am Tim." I suggest anybody that's interested in it, watch it. It's one of these great documentaries. I've seen several over the last year or so that document people's that are in the right place at the right time, and they just go to stardom. It's like they can't do a wrong thing. Sometimes they fuck up in the end, but it's just like, man, the stars are aligned for these people, and you watch them just go, and it's so amazing to see somebody. The other one was about Die Antwoord, from South Africa. These freakish guy and his girlfriend, Yolandi and Ninja. And just to see these people that came from the ghetto, poor as hell, and then just go platinum, stellar. It's amazing to see people do that trajectory. I love to see that story because it's like a rags to riches story. It's always great to see. So the Avicii thing was a similar story, and many people, it's hard for them to deal with, man. They shit, 50 million by 25 years old. And then, a lot of times, and many singers sing about this, you hear many songs lamenting about having to be propped up on stage and do this thing for the consumer that wants to devour the star. Basically, if they could chop them up and eat them, they would. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like that intense. They want to consume the person. They can never get enough. It's just it's a real weird psychology, and just to watch it, and it's heavy for people to deal with on when you are the talent. It's pretty wild. I got stuck in YouTube land last night. I know it happens to me too sometimes for no good reason. I spent 2 hours watching people's build earth ovens. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's funny. I will sometimes, that'll happen because I have to go on to answer my videos, right? You guys come and watch the videos, and then I want to go on and answer the comments. So I'm on YouTube, and then it knows what I freaking want, so it feeds me shit. And I'll end up watching idiots get arrested, like especially drunken idiots. By the way, January 15th will be my 25th year with no alcohol. So that's pretty freaking cool. So I like to look back on drunk idiots because I used to be that drunk idiot. And I look at these people and I'm like, holy shit, if they would have just not said anything and just complied with the officer, answered the questions, but you watch people who weren't going to even go to jail end up with like 3 felonies just because of opening their mouth and resisting arrest. It's like, I mean, isn't that the first thing you learn as a kid? If you're busted by the cops and they actually have you, fucking go along with it. Like, don't resist, because they're just going to beat the living shit out of you and add 3 charges to it and make it really bad for you. You learn that as a kid, but some people just don't get it. I guess they don't learn it. And so you watch these idiots just get mowed by the cops, and it's just like, I guess it just makes you feel like shit, life ain't so bad, or whatever. It's like watching other people's misery and troubles makes you feel better somehow in a freaking weird way, you know. And then women's fighting, we were watching that the other night, and then that turned into little people fighting, like little dwarfs fighting, and it was so funny. My girlfriend was in listening to the audio rig to music, and she came walking out, and me and Big John are watching in the sitting room. We're watching dwarf fighting, and she comes and she looks at the TV, and we're watching dwarf fighting, and she fucking hits the floor laughing, like she thinks we're so cuckoo. What are we doing? We're watching dwarf fighting. She never even knew it existed, and it was like so, man, you can get, and then you watch crazy stupid shit. The other one that I watch is like men doing stupid shit, like what we do as men. We take motorcycles and we put huge long spikes in the rear, and we extend out the swing arm so it's 5 feet long, and then we try and go up a freaking hill that's like a straight wall, and the bike has way too much horsepower, and there's no way we're making up the last 15 feet of that wall. But guys will sit and try it and try it and try it and try it, and just their bikes will rocket out from under them, and then they got to get out of the way so the bike doesn't crush them coming down the hill. And it's just, if it and if it's not that, then it's guys in their cars trying to crawl up and shit. Like we saw something in Great Britain where they're like using old ass like roadsters, like old roadsters, trying to get up off road. They're off-roading these things up through this crevasse, like through a ravine, trying to crawl their cars up there. Or Isle of Man TT. If nobody's ever watched that race, Isle of Man, just like if you know what the Isle of Man is, just look up Isle of Man TT race. And it's motorcycles on the streets with rock walls, like stone walls, because this is old ass United Kingdom, in the like the fields, what do you call them, like the pastures, right? And these dudes are doing shit, I don't know, 160 miles an hour, like, and they're on the road, they're not even on a track, and they're leaving the ground and landing, and the bike wiggles, and you're just like, oh my god, it's so hairy. Or rally racing. Look at rally racing. Like, what are people thinking rally racing? What are the spectators thinking standing right alongside where the cars are going to wipe out and take out a whole bunch of spectators? It's the craziest shit, but it's just testosterone probably, and stupid men trying to do stupid shit. But for some reason, it's entertaining to watch. You're just like, oh, better him than me. I mean, it's whacked out. So yeah, I can relate to getting stuck in the YouTube zone for sure. That's a good explanation. Thank you. Okay. Yes, you're correct. I've got that wrong, and I agree with your assessment of Richard Mille. My mistake, mate. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So well, yeah, Richard Mille is different. Frank Mueller is different. Wireless micro networks are in first large applications globally. FogVid is very close to real-time implementation of wireless micro networks. Wow. That's fucked up, bro. Ugh, Jesus. Yeah, I know, man. It's like we're all gonna have the shit in our blood, come hell or high water. No matter how much we don't vax or we don't do that, we're gonna end up with some shit in our blood that's gonna be able to correspond with this or with whatever, with 5G networks. It's going to be in the food, or it's going to be in the fog, or it's going to be in some shit, and it's like, but I can't, I'm going to ignore it. How about that? And I'm just going to ignore it and do what makes me happy, because I'm past 50 and I'm going to die before 100, I'm sure. So I'm just going to have fun. The white Bubba Watson Richard Mille is the only one I'd rock. The price is rude. I don't know what that one is. I'd have to. I don't think I'm interested just because of the brand and what it represents to me. Is there some reason why? Let's see why some manufacturers use 20 amp IECs instead of 15 amp IECs. Well, yeah, most of the time it's because the amplifier is going to draw, probably not going to draw 20 amps, but they put it on there anyways just to maybe indicate this is a high current piece. This will draw a lot of current. This will suck major current. It's more robust of a connector as well. It's just meant to handle, it's just beefier, right? So some people put it on just because it's beefier. I really don't know any amp that's going to draw 20 amps of current. That's unrealistic. Um, I mean, I've seen amplifier manufacturers that put like 30 amp and some even more like 50 amp RV plugs on it. And at that point, it's just cosmetic. You make a super huge amp and then you put this big blue RV thing that hooks and plocks down and plugs. And then you feel macho, right? Like, oh, I've got a big macho amplifier. And it's all just psychology, that's the only thing. Can I get by in a medium room with the N70 without a sub, Mikey? Yeah, absolutely. You just corner load them. So you get on the end of a room where you've got two corners, and you set the ass end, point them towards the corners, and use the corners to get bass. And then you don't. That's what I did at the show at Capitol Audio Fest, and we did not need a sub. People were asking where the subs were. Is there a reason why? Oh yeah, we already did that one. I had to jump forward. Excellent, brother. Thanks. You bet, Jasper. Happy New Year, man. We all enjoy much success. Yeah, Rich, you are. I know that much. Your company's going to fly. Tim Bergling, thanks, man. That was it. Hey, Mikey, can you review the Playback Design MPD6 in separate video and compare it with several DACs in the similar price point? Because I did not find any reviews on YouTube. Yeah, I've already done it. It's in my history. I can't remember what it was called. It's like a comparison of DACs. I compared the 6 and the 8, and and then like I compared 7. Wait, how many DACs did I have? 14. I think there was one point when I myself had 14 DACs here. They were all mine, 14 different DACs, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a killer video because nobody else has 14 DACs, and I'm gonna compare them all and talk about them all, and it's in my history. So, yeah, so look for it and then you can find it. But it's really not important. MPD Playback Designs, we are selling more than we can make. So we don't need to promote it. We don't need to do videos that show how great it is. It's already selling out every single month consistently. So they're not taking any more dealers. We don't go to shows at all and show the stuff because we can't handle any more sales. So, but yeah, MPD6 is 90% of what the MPD8 is. Much of Chinese manufacturing is referred to as dormitory based. There you go. You can go to work and never leave. Yeah, how about that? You can die there. You can die at your machine. What a life. You can listen to Tim Bergling, early work, listen to Alcoholic. I did hear that in the documentary. It was clear he liked Clubhouse. Yeah, that makes sense. Totally. No need for a sub with Fisher and Fisher speakers. My SN570s begin to roll off at 12 hertz. Yeah, I don't know that they go that low, but we get what you're saying. They did you take a microphone to them? I can't imagine they're flat to 12. They do go low. They do go low. Same thing happened to Anthony Bourdain, seemingly on top of the world, depressed, and then hung himself in a Paris hotel. Yeah. Yep. It's wild, man. It's wild stuff, man. Sometimes you become a slave to like whatever. He's doing these shows, and then he has to continue to do what they want him to do, maybe not at all what he wants to do, And then you get stuck in this conundrum of having to do what the people want, and the people will not take no for an answer. They want to consume you. You are the product, and you get consumed. So, like it or not, that's what happens. So I will not follow. I will not compromise my peace and serenity. You know what I mean? For money. Field coils to me are late night pitch black room, low volume bliss. They are to me very natural and agile. I totally appreciate it. I think Songer rocks. Yeah, they do. Reminds me of the matador that gave his life to the bull because the crowd continued to scream for more. It was all he had left to give. Wow. Yeah. How about that, dude? There, that is a great. That is a great. What do they call that? Store. Not a metaphor, but like it's a like a little one of those little things, life things. You know. He gave his life to the bull because the crowd continued to scream for more. Give us more and more and more. What are you going to do? You're going to let him gore you. That's more. You know, if you can't give any more, that's all he had left to give was his life. Um, that is really deep, man. I mean, maybe it's the same exact thing where people want more and more and more, and you're like, just take my life. You know, what more can I give you that I haven't already given you? You know what I mean? It's pretty wild, pretty heavy duty, man. Just laid some heavy shit down. February 7th, 5 years sober. Hell yeah, Mikey. Way to go, Harrison. Keep coming back, brother. Way to go, man. Props to you, Big Daddy, for 25. Thanks, Alan. It was time, man. It was time. Love Chappie. And D. Antwoord. Yes, man. How would Jeff Rowland 555 compared to the sound of Past Labs? It has Past Labs is more liquid and it depends which Past Labs, because some Past Labs was sharp and not really, and then they changed it and they made it very liquidy, Class A kind of liquidy sounding. Roland is an AB, so it's just a little bit more defined, I would say, but definitely not sharp. Like Roland is definitely musical, but it's more defined than Past Labs, which would be ultra musical, if you could put it that way. But again, there was some Past Labs in the history where they were just not. They were a little sharp, but they got rid of that. Congrats on the sober. I've had as many friends. I've had too many friends degenerate into somebody else or just die. I just was lucky to not get hooked on a plethora of experiments, young and stupid. Yeah, no doubt. Also pro the TT is fucking MotoGP riders. Yeah, you know it, man. All the pro. Yeah. Yeah. One of you all has invited me to come see the TT in UK, and I can't remember who it is. I got to write it down because I will come to that. That is on my bucket list to do before I die. So I got to go with my UK members of the tribe, and we go out to the TT and watch the TT and whatever, eat some mutton or whatever the hell you guys eat out there. I used to go and watch hill climb with my dad, Sweden, 1,300 horsepower off-road trucks going up basically vertical walls and falling down backwards. It's great fun. Absolutely, man. Yeah, it is. It's like stupid man shit, but we love it, you know, and we'll never stop doing it. Ice racing, it's like all sorts of crazy shit we do. Will playback design survive after Andreas Koch leaves this world? Probably not. Allegory. I don't know what that is. 1 year sober, looking for good non-alcohol beer to buy in US. Oh yeah, man, there's a lot. There's a lot. First of all, if you're 1 year sober, I just got to say this because for the record, if you're not in AA and you don't have a sponsor, I highly recommend that you go to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and do a 12-step program, find yourself a sponsor, because it helps you deal with the reason why we drank. We drank because we were fucked up and then in our head, and we drank to cover that up. The alcohol was not the problem. The alcohol was what we reached for to deal with our problems, right? So if you just stop alcohol, you don't fix the problem. You need to get your head straight as well. And that's what Alcoholics Anonymous, that's what AA does. And a 12-step and a sponsor. So you're fresh in it, I presume, but I just, for the record, I just thought I'd tell you that. Okay, so getting on to the next thing, Heineken makes a very good 0.0 beer. There's one called Shoot. It's Chouffe. Chouffe. I don't know. It's French. It's Belgian, right? And they make a really good. It's expensive as shit though. It's like $11 for 4 of them or something. Yeah, it was like 11 something for a 4-pack. But the Heineken I really like. Um, and then there's um what's that one from Denmark with the C. Not Klusthaler because that's from somewhere else. It's what's that damn good beer? Carlsberg. Carlsberg makes a killer one. You know how good Carlsberg beer is. I think Carlsberg makes a 0.00. There's a Peroni, an Italian one, which is pretty good. There's Westphaler, which is good. German and Austria are starting to become a lot. And then if you like the ales, there's American Colorado beers like IPAs that now are made with no alcohol. But I don't like bitter pale ale or any of that. I don't like that. I like Weizen or Pilsner. That's my like. So there you have it. Way to go, dude with 1 year, man. Congratulations. Parable. There you go. Parable. Thanks, Dietz. From Detroit comes in. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. I'm coming up to see your ass in Detroit, man. And I think I want to make a trip on the motorcycle. Yeah, anyways. And where to buy? I almost died in hospital. 3 months, had to quit. Yeah. Wow. You buy them at the liquor store, any liquor store. If you're 1 year in, man, go to a meeting, and find a sponsor, work the program. Trust me, that's the only way I did it, and I stopped and started. Finally, 25 years ago, I hung it up. It brought out the worst in me, yeah. Yeah. So you get it at the normal liquor store, but don't go in there if it's going to be a trigger for you. Too short to be a parable, but close. Okay, got you. Love the psychedelic bear behind your head. Thanks, man. The bus came by and I got on. That's when it all began. Yes. Okay, good. Allegory. There you go. The expression. Whoa, check out Middle Earth, man. Allegory, the expression by means of symbolic figures and actions of truths or generalizations about the human existence. Okay, so it's allegory. Thank you, man. You're gonna be the tribe thespian, right? Like right on. Thanks for that. Thank you. You bet, Derek, man. Hang in there, brother. But just seriously, go get and not only is it good to learn the tools of how to deal with our fucked up head as addicts, but you'll get a whole group of people that you'll find friends and support other people that have the same thing that we have, that will become friends and support, and it's a good support group. You're not going to want to ride up in Michigan till at least May. Well, yeah, of course. It will definitely be summer. Yeah. I don't want to be in the rain either. Will do. Okay, thank you. You bet, brother. Again, I can only speak from experience, and that was necessary for me, and it's a good thing. And there's an app on your phone. I'll tell you what. There's an app on your phone, and it's called Meeting Guide. This is for anybody right here, and look like this. And it's called Meeting Guide. I don't know if you can see that or not, but basically you punch, you open it. It knows where your location is, and this gives me, see, 4 miles. You can see 4 miles. This is a Zoom meeting. 9 miles, 9 miles. These are all, and at what time? 8:40. So I don't know if you can. I gotta get it in front of my face, but you can. Anyways, then it tells you where it is. It tells you about the meeting. It's called Meeting Guide. Just like this, you can see that little app. Can never get it to focus on that, man. I think I got to get my face out of there. But Meeting Guide has that little chair. So check that out, and that'll tell you, like, wherever you are, brother. There's going to be meetings within miles of where you are, and then every day you can find them, and just go there and just talk to people, man. It's a cool group. Moosehead Grand Prix in Nova Scotia is cool. Road-based car rally race. People come from all over. You got to have a good co-pilot. Yeah, I drove in a Porsche GT2, no, a GT3, with this guy. The other guy was GT2. He's more of a mellow drive. But I drove with a rally driver at Barber Motorsports Park in a GT3 RS. With a rally driver, and he was drifting every freaking corner in that Porsche and driving it so hard. It was so fun. he was like kind of scary. The other guy had a GT2 RS, way more powerful car, longer legs, more power. But he was just more calm of a driver. So even though the car was way more intense power wise, it was way more, the experience was way more intense in the GT3 with the rally car driver because of the way he drove. He was a nutso driver, and he was like, he'd won titles and stuff in Jamaica. Mikey, have you ever experienced a Triumph Rocket 3? No, I haven't. 2300, 25, 3-cylinder, depending on the year. No, I know exactly what that is. I just got for Christmas, as a Christmas present, a Fat Boy with a 131, which is a 2,145 V twin. So each cylinder is 1,000 cc's, 1,050 or whatever, 1,060 cc's. 135 foot-pounds of torque at like 2,000 RPM, and it's a Harley. It's not British, it's American. So it's yeah, but the Rocket's cool. Way probably heavier than my Harley, the Fat Boy, but I don't know. But I have not. I know exactly what the Rocket 3 is. I've seen it. It looks like a crazy, insane machine. I had a Triumph. I had a Sprint ST 1050, which was a fast bike, and now the Harley has 2 of those engines in it, just almost like the Rocket. Andrew, riding in the rain isn't that bad if you've got the right gear to stay dry. I've got an Aero Stitch, dude. I've got an Aero Stitch, and but I'm not. I don't need to ride in the rain. It's not necessary. So I'm not one of those guys. I will just stay wherever I am when it's raining. But you're right. You don't have to. I've done plenty of rain riding. I can recommend Jesus for quitting alcohol, drugs. I know we don't talk about religion here, but I find it's important, and it worked for me. Well, yeah, I mean, part of AA is having a higher power, and that higher power is God, and in however you understand it. So it doesn't need to be Christian, right? You can get sober with AA as long as you have a God, a higher power that's not yourself. That's really the key thing. The takeaway from it is that you realize that you can't do it on your own. Like your will never helped you out, like our will, when we're stuck in our will, we go crazy. But yeah, so if your higher power was Jesus for that, then good, man. Awesome. Mine was just, I didn't even understand or how to put it. So I had to put it in terms of that which was not me. So I just knew whatever God was, it wasn't me, it was outside of me. So that's how I dealt with it when I was trying to figure it out. But way to go. Congratulations on the anniversary, Mikey. Cool thing you've done there. Thanks, buddy. Okay, it's 2 hours and 7 minutes. I'm going to take off, everybody. I hope you have a happy new year and a great 2025. Stay tuned because things are going to change. Where I'm in flux right now. Right now, over the last time, you've seen me kind of in a little in flux, and we will hit the ground running and be back in full tilt gear within the next 30 days, where you'll see a little bit more of a solid format that follows a format. But this has been good, I mean, live streams 2 times a week, and I talk with you guys and interface with you. It seems to work well. So anyways, good night. Thanks everybody for joining, and I will see you later. Be back on Sunday. Okay, see you.